Hi, my name is Brenna, and I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about why aeration is important. So, what is aeration, first of all? It's when you use an aerator, or a decanter, or a whisk, or whatever you want to use to force air into the wine. What is the result of this? It kind of opens up the tannins a little bit, softens the tannins, softens the flavor. It just makes it a better wine to drink. It often will balance it out. Specifically if it's a young wine, you definitely want to aerate because it can open up the bouquet. It makes it more accessible to you. It kind of lets your palate glide along it a little bit easier. So what kinds of wine are you going to aerate? You're obviously not going to aerate a sparkling wine because when you do that, all the bubbles will disappear, unfortunately, and it's not going to taste very good after that. A rosé, you're probably not going to aerate. Why? They're usually light anyway. This is the same as a white wine. You're probably not going to aerate a white wine just because they're lighter anyway. They have less tannins, they're usually more balanced with acidity, and hence they don't really need the aeration or the forcing of air into it. Now, if you have a Pinot Noir, you have to be careful with aeration. Pinot Noirs are usually lighter wines, and it can be ruined very easily. You want to make sure that you're choosing a wine that not only isn't meant to be drank in a few years, but you want to make sure that your wine selection is on point for aeration. Pinot Noirs are very gentle wines, so aerating them too much can kind of blow them open or ruin the balance of the wine. The acidity, the tannins, the flavor. And if you ruin it, there's really no way to get it back unless you mix in more unaerated wine. And then the kind of wine you do want to aerate is a dark red blend, maybe a Cabernet, Syrah, etc. You just want to make sure that it's not something, I don't want to say cheap, but usually cheaper wines don't need aeration because they're meant to be drunk right away, and they're meant to cleanse the palate. They're easy to drink, they go down a lot easier, and they don't really need aeration quite as much. It's very similar with very old wines. You definitely want to be careful when you're aerating those. I would use a decanter and just let them sit because it's very easy to kind of blow those over. Once they've been sitting for a long time, they kind of lose a lot of the flavor and balance in the bottle. If it's too old of a bottle or very old, you just want to be very careful of losing everything because then it's not much fun to drink and the experience is kind of ruined. So definitely use a decanter with those and let them kind of sit and mellow and chill by themselves. So wines that you should aerate, anything that you're planning on drinking that is maybe over 2 years old, blends that are kind of thicker, meatier, so a Syrah, Cabernet. You just want to be careful that you're not kind of blowing it open. And as always, test a little bit of your wine first with aeration. So if you're planning on aerating a whole bottle for your guests, you might want to test a little bit and see if it actually needs aeration in the first place. And I've got a fun video for you coming up on aerators next week. We'll be featuring the Oster, Venturi, and a no-name brand, so we'll see how they stack up against each other. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot them over. Thanks!